Get away from windows, get into the lowest level of your home, away from windows, especially when we're talking a tornado warning. Again, this goes until 12:30. This is coming out of Claiborne County. You can see Tazewell right here. So that's actually where this started. And then it kind of flared up here a bit right at that Hancock line through Stevensville and then on into Virginia. So we do have this alert going into Hancock, Lee, and Scott counties, again, for about 29 more minutes. So the current pace for some of these rounds of rain is moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour. So that means this batch, for example, it's going to close up the gap in Blount County. You got it in downtown Maryville about 12:42. You got a half an hour. If you run out, get some lunch, run back. Walland, just about 12:50, closer to 1 o'clock for Wares Valley. Downtown Gatlinburg about 1:08. So these showers continue, or rounds of rain. Shower simply means on and off, but it's moderate to heavy at times. Notice we have just a little bit of extra warmth here where we've had some extra gaps in the rain at times today. 49 Knoxville, 50 Madisonville, 50 Greenville to 44 Harlan. Fans don't need Wookiee fur to see the final journey of the surviving resistance. Yes, I even created my own lightsaber. Of course, it's green. For the good side. It is going to be warm Friday evening. All right, I'm talking more clouds. Right, our evenings won't cool as quick. So if you're planning on running some errands, doing some shopping, going to see a movie, going into your weekend, definitely some good news here. Still in the low 40s. These severe thunderstorms are moving northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So I've got to back up just to give myself room. That's how quickly it went from the western part of the valley and cut across to northeast Tennessee. So that particular severe thunderstorm continues to fan out around Morristown just over the next few minutes. It means you want to get inside, again, lowest level, away from windows. Rogersville 12:30, Sir Gowensville about 12:45, Churchill closer to 12:55. So we have multiple severe thunderstorms, but obviously the rain doesn't stop. Remember, this is the leading edge of the front. So that's why we're getting these damage reports. You can literally see the path that the storms have taken as we've damage reports of trees down in Roane County. There was also a possible damage to a barn. Here's a new report coming in from Knox County of trees and power lines down there in North Knox County. We've got reports in Union and Anderson and Claiborne as well. Very similar, right? These wind speeds are clearly causing damage, and now these storms are here and moving northeast. So that's the trail behind. This is the edge of the cold front. All right, you can clearly see where those winds are turning. So the strongest gusts are here ahead of it, and then it's literally blowing into town with breezy conditions behind. So the winds won't just stop. You get some of these rumbles of thunder near you. The winds are kicking up. That front's rolling in. We were in the 70s in the past hour. Those 70s are still here fueling those storms. So it's now 79 in Pigeon Forge, but 59 in Knoxville, and now 47 in Crossville. 30-degree temperature difference from one side of our area to the other because that cold front's coming to town. That we do have a new tornado warning. Let's zoom in for you here because I think first and foremost, you need to know exactly what communities are included in this. So let's zoom in here. I'm going to turn off my lightning so a little easier to see. This is right over Lantana. If you live in this area, look at that. That's highway. Let's see here. What is that? 68. Yes, it's 68, 127. So that is the active tornado warning that is currently moving across Cumberland County. So Crossville, you're just outside of it. This is the heart of that storm that has been indicating on radar some possible rotation here. So that is where we're continuing to see that as a possible tornado yet again. These storms keep wanting to rotate here, and that's where we are seeing this warned storm until 6 p.m. is your new active. Again, this is Central Time, folks, so that's 50 minutes here. 6 p.m. Central Time for Cumberland County. So you have 50 minutes before this tornado warning comes to an end. Spreading out, but then those 30s slide right in. Plateau to southeastern Kentucky by 7. Kids running around this evening, absolutely. It's cold, but it'll feel colder. So these strongest gusts that we have now, and over the next half an hour, that continues to move northeast. But notice the winds don't just cut off behind it by any means. It's just the damaging winds come out with that leading edge that's creating the isolated stronger to severe storms. So we stay breezy this evening, which means it continues to feel even colder. So for trick-or-treating, really keep in mind we're basically cooling through the 40s. So showers become spotty, change to a few flurries, sun sets. It feels colder. So actually, more importantly, I wanted to show you what those feels like temperatures will be like where you live, because that means that, well, even in the 4 o'clock hour, it'll feel like it's 42 in Knoxville. It'll feel like it's 30 already in Crossville. It'll feel like it's 38 in Townsend and 35 Middlesboro. So again, that earlier arrival of the cold front directly impacts trick-or-treating with this chill. You have another freeze watch tonight, so make sure the outdoor pets have a nice warm place to sleep tonight, please. We're actually over here in West Knoxville, and we're hearing thunder from these surrounding storms. So just a heads up there, these are obviously very intense storms. You may be nearby and seeing or hearing some troublesome things. Remember, if you hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. In this particular case, this is where we are continuing to see that potential for some rotation. Austin, did you have something else that you were wanting to jump in on? So it's still going to feel great this evening. I wanted to stress that. But the cold air is on the way for tonight. So that's where the changes start moving in. Technically, high for Tuesday, close to midnight, still 50s hanging out there, valley to Smokies, but there's that freezing line coming into town tonight. So basically, we all feel the Arctic air by Tuesday morning. All right, so this is when the 20s fan out, and we look at that. Easily can be in the low 20s on the plateau, mid to upper 20s, northeast Tennessee to southeastern Kentucky, upper 20s here along the foothills. There's a little sliver there of upper teens to right around 20 at the tops of the Smokies, and right at freezing valley by Tuesday morning. I know we've had some mornings recently around freezing, but the key here with our WVLT weather alert is we're going to have winds that make it feel even colder starting tomorrow. Still think, despite the fact that overall we'll run a little bit warm between these 3 months, I still think we're going to get a decent shot at some average snowfall, because what it's going to take is a couple of good Arctic cold snaps to kind of come into town. So that's where that Arctic air digs south. It's also why it usually takes January to February to really get this going. Kind of comes down in waves. So I think we're going to be able to pull that Arctic air down south a couple of times over these few months, and then it'll retreat back. So in that trend, that's where we make the transition in those precipitation types, right? We run in that warm air above average most of the time on those temperatures, and then we get these cold snaps. It slides us down to changing in those types, meaning it starts out as rain, and in the valley especially changes over to snow. That's when it gets cold enough. But here's the key. That does cut down on accumulations. I think we're going to get a few of those rain to snow events, meaning more snowfall than accumulation. So very important there. But in that big picture trend, well, here's what's actually average snowfall for our area. Oh yes, I know this is a lot of numbers and a lot of colors, but that's because we have a lot of differences in our area.